Wipe it. Wipe it. There we go. Hey, everybody. You could probably hear me, but you couldn't see me. The intro graphic. Chugging. Might just have to ditch the whole wipe aesthetic because I can't tell. Is it? Does the wipe need the chug? Can you not have the wipe without the chug? I just don't want to have the click. I don't want to start every click like this or every clip and then like I'm looking at XSplit and then like, oh, hi everybody. It's Cup of Jones. Hey, what's up? September 27th, Monday morning. Back on a Monday schedule. Hi, everyone. Sarah Knight said something that I think is very pertinent in chat before we began, which is, it is so nice to see so many familiar names, so many familiar faces stopping by. Cup of Jones every week. Thank you for all the people who normally write in questions. Thank you for all the people, a whole different fun cast of people who jumps in to chat, and a bunch of people who talk to me after the fact on social media, who maybe just listen to the audio version of this or watch the VOD after the fact. Major Chug. I'm dropping frames all over the place. I've dropped 240 so far. It's holding right now. Okay. Yeah, I dropped some frames there. Maybe right at the beginning. Heard a little music skip in our countdown video. Yeah, let me know if how everything's going. Community Showcase is 1 week away. I'm going to do something today I've actually never done before and maybe should do most of the time when it schedules out. The Community Showcase post will be going up at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So if you tuned into Cup of Jones today live, you'll get that little advantage. 11 a.m. Pacific time, and then you'll have a week to get that up. You'll have 2.5 more days of the month of October to get that post up. All right. I don't want to get rid of the Star Wars wipe. You know, I love the Star Wars wipe. I don't know if I described it as a Star Wars wipe at the time. But that showcase post goes up. Michael Huber will be joining me at 2 p.m. next Monday. That will be an October showcase with Michael Huber, so proceed as you feel you need to, combining those two themes. But that should be fun. Mysterious Monsters will be back today. Speaking of spooky vibes, getting back into October, it just feels right. Obviously, we wanted to get that show done. I'm just clutching the cup. I'm holding onto it in both hands. Obviously, we want to do that as soon as possible, but there's just something right about getting some Mysterious Monsters love in this spooky themed. I mean, I'm already completely in the Halloween mood. I'm reading Halloween books to Milo every single day. I ate a lot of pumpkins and candy corn last night. So it's October as far as I'm concerned. Amanda's birthday's in October. We're already celebrating. So shooting Frame Trap this week. I'm actually working on something that's embargoed that I actually get to talk about before the embargo because I'm not going to review it. So they said as long as you don't put a review score on that, you can talk about that on Frame Trap. That is a game that I did not know about until we got a code for it. I think I might have seen it in a montage or something during like an indie showcase, but I'm very much enjoying it and really looking forward to talking about it. Don't guess because none of you have any idea what it is. It's some totally random game, but I love bringing that type of stuff to Frame Trap on top of Marvel Future Revolution, which of course I'm auto battling right now. I'm in Sakaar, like from Thor Ragnarok. So it's fun. I'm just running around Sakaar, getting more story elements of Sakaar, stuff I didn't know. The Maestro's there, which is the Hulk villain that they just added to Avengers. Talked with Ben about Guardians of the Galaxy, which is, speaking of Marvel, which is turning out way better than any of us imagined. Ben really liked that, and that was a fun conversation. It was neat because I listened to him and then later watched that video because I was really curious to see the footage. And that's a pretty game. I'm looking forward to playing that. I actually brought that up with Amanda. I was like, Guardians might be something fun for us to play together. It's not like co-op, but the allies will talk a lot where they're like, oh, I played through this game. And, Beth sat there and watched me play it, or Abby watched me play it. And I'm like, oh, Amanda's always like, if I'm not playing it with you, I'm out. So maybe she can jump in and help me make some choices. Thank you to Nintendo for casting Chris Pratt as Mario, because that gave us a pretty easy week of content. The podcast was made all the better for it. We have a friend code, obviously focusing on all the Nintendo news from last week, and we have a ton of reactions. I think at least 4 from that presentation. There was a lot of juicy bits. I finished Mass Effect 1 last week. I beat Mass Effect 1. Shocking many. Well, you'll see. There's one that's kind of spoilery. There's a question that's like maybe a little bit spoilery. I'll see if I can reword it. Because it does concern the ending. They don't really get into specific details, but it is, talking about things that happen when that game wraps up. I'm going to play Mass Effect 2. I'm hopefully going to stream it. I'm maybe going to do that before the end of 2021. I probably will. I'll probably do that in November sometime. But let me take October off. Let me just take a break. Give me some shore leave. Let me go hang out with my blue girlfriend for just a little bit, and then we'll get back to it. But obviously, that's something that I want to do. Obviously, I'm playing through the entirety of Mass Effect 1, thinking about Mass Effect 2. So, and you got to remember, and I'll talk about this a lot in Mass Effect 2, but Mass Effect 2 was like the peak Xbox 360 era. Like that was pretty peak game trailers as well. So like, I'm at Viacom during that time. This is Shane Satterfield, Justin Spear, Ryan Stevens managing like a massive editorial team. And we're doing countdowns. We're doing massive awards. No live streaming, which is funny. It's crazy to think of that time. And it's like, that's why we were producing so many shows, because we didn't do anything live. Like it was all shows. And I just remember Mass Effect 2 trailer after Mass Effect 2 trailer after Mass Effect 2 trailer. I knew the whole cast. I knew like references to Mass Effect 1. BioWare pumped out so much media for that game. It was insane. But I've never played it. Finally finished Lost in Random. I finished that review and put that sucker up. So check that out if you want to see it. And I had an interesting thing. I had a lot of games to play this weekend. A lot of stuff I could play. And there's one game I did not play as much of as I wanted to, for a very interesting reason that has reared its ugly head over the years, and I feel is becoming more and more of an issue now that I'm in my 40s. It won't be a very happy editorial, I'll let you know. Let's look at the schedule. There it is in beautiful green, Mysterious Monsters on YouTube and Twitch. You can watch it live, or you can just check that on YouTube. If you are not going to be available at 12 p.m. Pacific time today, Cup of Jones is now. It's happening. Cup of Jones, just white text along all the other white text things, you know. Mysterious Monsters. Ooh, Mysterious Monsters. But Cup of Jones is just, you know, just normal. Another Cup of Jones. Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here. Road 96, that's Isla and Dawn tonight. Big day for Isla. They're going to be continuing their playthrough. The Q&A is tomorrow. Hot Wheels Unleashed is going to be such a good group stream. Even if just Blood plays and we all just watch Blood. That'll be a lot of fun. Speaking of Blood, Blood's going to play No Man's Sky on Wednesday as part of the Blood Pact. Frame Trap with me will go up on Wednesday. I'm not going to say it's me. I was tempted. Fast and Loose will be on Thursday. I think that cast is still coming together. I'm not sure when that records this week. Podcast, I'm going to be working on that. Ben is playing the Halo Infinite Tech preview. That is 2 weekends. Otherwise, Ben would have been streaming that this last weekend. Ben was just returning now. He's on a flight this morning coming back from listening to lots of metal this weekend. He's going to have a lot of metal news to update everybody on. But he'll be playing some Halo on Friday, and 4 of us are going to be playing New World. I might jump in. I did not get a code, but I'm very curious about that. I might join that stream, or at least have something to talk about, hang out and chat with everybody. And then, as usual, easy update in the podcast if you wait for those on Saturday and Sunday. Cool. Let's do business questions. Nice and smooth business questions. The intro. Chugging like that. I'm still reeling. For Brandon K. Gann, do you think it'd be fun for the special event streams EZA puts on a couple times a year to do live versions of the non-Patreon exclusive shows like Hubris Syndrome, Easy Update, etc.? I understand this would be something at the discretion of the respective producers, but the live version of Minigame Champions has me thinking what else could apply. Yeah, I definitely put that in takeaways, so we can bring that up later. I think the main difficulty and or just the reason why we're not like inspired to do stuff like that is because it's a special event. We're going live. We're thinking a lot about like what have people talked about? Like we talked about Here Comes the Pain. We should probably play that. We talked about, you know, these other games, Final Fantasy 11. Like these things have come up, you know, Mario Party Superstars. Like there's just a lot of obvious things whenever we get ready for an event. Even looking like the Halloween stream later this month. It's like there's stuff that we've talked about. And it can be easy to think of like, well, if we're doing an event and then we're just bringing them another episode of something we already do, that might be upsetting or boring, or that might not fly. And so I think that's why we don't think of stuff like that. But and I got to admit, I was sitting on the couch when Blood was you know setting up Minigame Champions, and it's like that show has a lot of bells and whistles. A lot of the stuff that we do, we have to do in spurts while we're producing even just one episode, and then we kind of accordion package all of those things together. And so before we started Minigame Champions, I was like, is the pace of this going to work? You know, I hope there's not a lot of like, and hold for setting up the next thing. But could be fun. Could also work. Everything's worth a shot, and especially if Huber's like, a live syndrome, let's do it. And then, yeah, then it needs to happen. Alexander Zurianov, hello, Brandon. I want to give you a little advice regarding Mass Effect 2 if you decide to play it. Mass Effect 2 is a significantly different game compared to Mass Effect 1. I will not go into any specifics because I do not want to spoil any good changes for you. But I want to warn you that not all of those changes were for the better. Depending on how important each alteration is for you personally, you may end up liking Mass Effect 2 more or less than Mass Effect 1. I liked 2 more in 2010, and I liked 1 more in 2021. I'm telling you this because I don't want you to get overhyped for Mass Effect 2. Don't worry about that. I forgot about its drawbacks over the years when I replayed it this summer. I was very disappointed that I didn't live up to the image I had in my brain. I didn't enjoy my time with this game as a result, and I want you to avoid falling into the same trap. In short, if you decide to play Mass Effect 2, try to expect nothing more than a continuation of the story. That's it. I think this way, you'll get the most out of it. Yeah, there's nothing. I imagine there's very little that like anyone's expectations about my playthrough or just the game in general. Because I wonder if there's a lot of people that are like, I played Mass Effect 2 I played all the Mass Effect games back in the day a ton. Remaster looks great. Maybe I'll get to it once I've already bought it, but like maybe I'll get to it later. I don't have time right now, but it's still fun to watch Jones play. Like I don't mind experiencing Remaster through him. So I wonder if a lot of people are like, oh yeah, like I forgot that was not great. Or like, oh, this one mission was better than I remember. Or I like that character, Jones. Why did you let them die? All of these things can potentially come out. I'm not... Any opinions that I have of Mass Effect 2, I don't think are going to be like, chat, you got me all excited. You know, like Mass Effect 2 is not hype in the kind of way where like I'm expecting to love it. Sometimes thematically something comes along like a movie or something in the MCU where it's like I've heard good things about Shang-Chi. I'm like excited about it, and I'm like all, you know, I've seen like all of the shows and everything. I'm just like so primed. I just haven't made a time to like go to a movie theater. I wonder if now if I could go, if I would like sit in the back and like have nobody anywhere remotely near me. But even being inside for 2 hours is kind of scary. But expectations are certainly set from like a narrative perspective, whereas my mind's pretty open as far as the rest of the Mass Effect series. Like I can't see me experiencing something in Mass Effect 2 and being like, I'm not enjoying this because I thought this was going to be something else. I have no idea what Mass Effect 2 is going to be like. I know that you don't have energy in your guns and you reload them, and I know there's a badass skinny chick with tattoos. And all the other characters that are in that. The blinking lizard guy. Assassination is an art. Blink, blink, blink. And I, blink, blink, am the master. Blink, blink, blink. Or a master, sorry. And I am a master. They all had their own character trailers, so it's just like, oh. There's Tube Guy. There's a guy in a tube. There's a guy in Mass Effect 2. How can I spoil a game I've never played? There's someone in Mass Effect 2 that's in a tube. It's Tube Guy. Who's Tube Guy? I don't know. Whenever I play Mass Effect 2. No, Jones, you don't understand. It's not Tube Guy. Kenny Cole. Over the course of the pandemic, I've picked up learning Premiere Pro in my free time. I've taken a couple of courses online. Do you have any advice for new editors to how to practice? So far, I've used clips from movies to cut trailers. I've used stock footage to make fake tourism videos. Any insight for advice from a seasoned editor would be greatly appreciated. Sure. So if you're using clips from movies and you're cutting trailers and using stock footage and you're making fake tourism videos, then my understanding is that you got your clips over here and you got your music over here and you're done. So you find like a track, and then you put footage over that. So let's take that a step further. Use multiple tracks. Pick 2 pieces of music and like try to transition between them. You know, like try to like start with one track and then like make another track. So like if you're using clips from movies to cut trailers, how many pieces of music were in that trailer? If it's just 1, try like 3. You know, still make it like 2 minutes long, but like try to be like, ooh, that one part of a song is really good. And then like, are these things the same beat? Can I maybe slow one song down and change the pitch and mess around with stuff like that? Sound effects is a fun thing to mess around. Go back to some of those movie trailers you cut and like throw in some sound effects. If you're like, well, I don't have the sound effects from the movie, add your own, you know, like go look around on YouTube. There's a lot of free sound effects you can use. And also the music service that we sign up for Easy Allies, I want to say Epidemic, but that might just be, where is it? Epidemic. There it is. I've used so many different music services over the years. It's like, was that one I used 20 years ago? Or is that one I'm using now? And but a lot of those services have sound effects as well. So if you want to like invest for a month in something and just grab all their stuff and mess around with it. And another fun thing you can do is like maybe recreate a scene from a movie or write like a dumb scene. Like write just one, like a scene that's like 5 minutes long between a couple people. You can even record it with yourself. You can just set up an iPhone, record one person talking to another person. But like cut a scene that has like dialogue in it and then has like a flow of a conversation. Because that's a really fascinating thing to experience as an editor, and something that like I messed around with friends. Ripley, I've cut some stuff for them, intros and trailers and stuff for work that they've done. And like it was interesting editing as much as I do, and then going back to like, oh yeah, people talking to each other. I forgot about this. Like this is a skill that unless you're doing that, unless you're like cutting short films or features or television shows where you're like, I have this conversation from this angle and I have the conversation from this angle and I have the conversation a mid shot, and it's up to me to decide when are you looking at either person, how long are you looking at them, and like, you know, you have a pace to the conversation that they had, but like as an editor, you can do whatever the hell you want to with that pace. You can put a 1 minute gap of silence in the middle of that conversation if you want to. And also you're dealing with sound. So it's like if one person said like, hey, thanks for going to the market, and then like you had the reaction shot where the person's like, you know, and the guy's like, hey, thanks for going to the market, and in one shot a giant truck drives through in the background. Like, what are you gonna do? You can, like, so there's a lot of interesting ways you see something in television that blends. Oh man, I can ruin Endgame for you right now if you want me to. Not spoilers, but there's something I noticed in Endgame last time I watched it where I was like, no. Why did I see that? Because once you see something like that, you can't unsee it. All right, if you really, really like Endgame, don't listen to this podcast for 60 seconds. When, I don't remember her name, but when, the Sorcerer Supreme, when she's holding up the time stone to the Hulk, to Bruce, in the wide shot, when she's looking behind, you can see Tilda Swinton talking. And she's not talking in the movie. They just used a wide shot, and they were like, oh, we really want to hold on that shot. And they're just like, well, her back is turned. You can't see her talking. You can totally see her talking. It's the wide where you're like on the rooftop and you see, and she's holding it up to him. And you can see the side of her mouth just gabbing away. It's like, argh! It's so, there's so many amazing movies, some of my favorite movies of all time. And as an editor, it's like, it's like, didn't you see that? Oh, well. What is it in Dark Knight Returns? Where Dark Knight Strikes Back, Dark Knight Rises, where Catwoman's just like punching nobody. It's rough. You can watch a movie 1,000 times and still not see like the most obvious thing. But yeah, editing's fun. Joseph LaRussa, thank you for selecting the Concentrate on Sovereign option at the end of ME1. Spoilers for ME1, kinda, I guess. Concentrate on what's Sovereign? I've never seen any of those scenes before, LOL. I'm excited to see a playthrough with a human-led council. Now, a little less than a week has passed. What did you like most about it? Like the least? Can we expect a comprehensive thoughts discussion on something like Frame Trap? Thanks, love and respect. I want to do a Syndrome. I got to sit down with Huber and we're going to do a Syndrome. So, plenty of stuff to talk about on Frame Trap. Don't need to bring Mass Effect to Frame Trap, unless Ben wants me to. But we'll definitely do a Syndrome because Huber, like, you know, it's one of those grab my shoulders in the hallway moments where he's like, we're doing a Syndrome. So that'll definitely happen. What did I like most about it? Shepard. The Shepard and my crew. I was completely satisfied with both characters that I picked. One character could lift people and float them around while I shot them in the face. And the other one could get shot by anything in that game and just walk away from it. And so I could just send into a room with a shotgun and they would be like, I'm on it. And then just run it. Like, I don't know what, like, and that's the thing is like, one of my big takeaways from being an outside fan of Mass Effect was like, Garrus. Everybody talks about Garrus. Like Garrus art, Garrus in a bikini, Garrus, you just like, it's just Garrus everywhere. Everywhere I looked, everybody talked about Garrus. And that kind of stealth vibe, I was like, yeah, but that's me though. So I'm Garrus in this sense. So it just doesn't necessarily fit my team, but who knows? Who knows what crew I'll have in Mass Effect 2? Maybe I'll bring him on. The least was the maps. It was just how they guided you toward places was, I didn't like the icons. I hated the Citadel. I hated when they were like, go to this place. And it's like, cool, where is that? It's interesting going to the map. The star map was actually kind of fun. And I hear it obviously expands in the later games, but The star maps was interesting because you'd go to the star map and it'd be like, here's the Floro system. That's where the Citadel is. And like, oh, cool, thanks. Whereas like none of the other maps did that. Like if there's a quest just right there through that door, the door would be like, I'm a door. And it's like, can you not tell me? And it was worse because chat was so helpful. But chat would be like, go to this place. And I'd boot up the map and like, how am I supposed to know what you're talking about? But that's a small price to pay for such a fun game. And something I think I would have just run around. I would have just never stopped running had I not been doing that live. Had I been playing by myself, I'd just been like, well, let me just hug the wall to the left and eventually I'll find something, I think. But yeah, the maps were not great. And hope, again, we're talking about expectations for Mass Effect 2. If they're still not great in Mass Effect 2, I'll play it and enjoy it. My expectations are not out of whack, I don't think. Dr. Medic, is there any long-term purchase goal that the Easy Allies are interested in pursuing? I remember back before the studio, the excitement of watching the subscribers climb as everything inched ever forward towards the big moment of finally being in the studio. Although there might not be a goal as monumental as that, which is something that we've talked about the benefits and not benefits of a lot. And in our last meeting, actually, we were like, is there something we can put up there? Because it's, I can do an editorial on that maybe next week, but there's all sorts of pluses and minuses towards going back to that, having our Patreon exist in that way. That it's like, man, we're all, please help us get there. Although there might not be a goal as monumental as that, is there possibly something that we can work towards, i.e. new cameras, lights, mics, furniture, etc., that will help the long-term goals of the business? Maybe we could track progress towards that goal as an event, maybe. Just thoughts while driving through the endless flat of western Kansas, eastern Colorado. What's the weather like in eastern Colorado right now? Hopefully brisk. That's right, Dr. Manic. I get thrown. Dr. Manic, I start thinking somebody, throwing pills into something to stop a virus. But Dr. Manic's the truck driver. That's right, again. Put those two together. Thank you for weighing in. Yes, again, this is something that we have discussed. It's just there's not, in a good way, there never will be. Like, we got to Everest. It was crazy. Like, we got to a point where we are back in that studio. And I assure you, not a moment goes by that I don't park my car, go into the front door, walk up that stairs and go, I can't believe we have this studio. I can't believe we have this space. I can't open up the doors and flick all the equipment on and like open up the kitchen and like grab a bottle of water and just sit down and start working on the podcast. Like, it never gets old. It's really, really incredible. And so it's tough for us to rack our brains, be like, what could we shoot for that wouldn't be tenuous? Because honestly, every time this question comes up, it's always more employees. It's always more staff. And it's tough to hire people outside of the ways that we're naturally doing, where it's like GoButton, who, shout out to GoButton, just came in and did repairs to the stage. Stuff falls apart. Like equipment that we're picking up, like, people that might be on Mysterious Monsters, to do camera or to, be at the desk. People for events. When we used to do it live, we would need musicians, and shout out to Jessica Linverdi, who got paid a little bit, to help us out administratively for various events. But those are always just small things, part-time things, temp one day, one weekend things. And so really bringing somebody on, on a more full-time basis to handle just work that, I don't know, we don't want to do because we all have shows, and our people show up to Patreon and make shows. We all make shows, and we started a Patreon all being show people, and there's business, and we're all bad at it. So bringing in business people would be great. It's just tricky. How do we do that in a crowdfunded way? Congratulations, you're hired and your salary is crowdfunded. Good luck. It's not a great sell, but something that we've been thinking about a lot. And technically, we got those monitors in the back. That's come up a ton on Cup of Jones. It would be fun maybe before E3 next year to maybe put some funds into that and just have a fun background stuff or fun graphic elements that are added. When we did E3 and got back in the studio, it was like we were just lucky to be there. So we didn't do a lot technically with graphics and stuff. A whole new graphic package could potentially be a fun thing. A fun, maybe like mid-tier on a fundraiser event. Get a couple grand together and do that. See, chat's great, but every now and then you look into chat and you see cameras dropping something like Kyle Bossman AI, and it's like, now I got to go through 2 more questions thinking about a hello, Brandon. Like, he's on my phone. Why are the lights blinking? Stepan Hakobian. Hey, Johns, this is a message for Blood. I hope he's reading. Hello? Bloodworth, are you there? I remember you liked Split Second. I watched your stream. There's a game on Apple Arcade called Detonation Racing that has similarities. That could become a stream. You may want to take a look at it. Detonation Racing. Apple Arcade. You know what? I mean, as the guy who's auto-battling right now on his phone, it's incredible that I'm not into Apple Arcade. I've never invested in it. Maybe I'm just waiting. It's like weird shows that I'm just like waiting for them to finish. Like, I'll watch it. It's like Watchmen. Like, I'll watch it when it's done. I did, and I enjoyed it. But I waited until it was finished. As Bo Zapruder, hi Jones. I'm sorry to say again. Oh no, it's fine. Just, one of those days. But if Easy Allies were getting married to each other, to someone else, as a company, what do you mean Easy Allies were getting married? All of us are getting married? Some of us are married. What would you want to receive from its guests? 27 dinner plates, 37 butter knives, 47 paperweights, or 57 candle holders? Well, I would want all of it because it's the set. You'd want to get the whole, But probably the dinner plates would probably go. But we're not getting married. No one in Easy Allies is getting married. And certainly that's not something that we would talk about, Like Huber got married, and that was wonderful, and he invited us, which was nice. I would not have invited Allies to my wedding. We're getting married today. No, I don't want that vibe at my wedding. And I don't know if you want Ally vibes at a wedding. Allies? You don't want to see a bunch of crazy allies falling apart in front of you. Trust me. You don't want to. Weddings are too emotional. They're too important for something like. So that's the thing. People say Hall of Greats is important. Weddings are important. Hall of Greats is not really important. As important as a wedding. John, I always enjoy it when Isla is involved in a discussion. Any chance of her being on the main podcast sometimes as a panelist rather than chipping away from behind the controls? Yes, the issue is not a lot of us know those controls. I know the controls if you can just sit me down at that thing, but there's a lot of announcements about starting up and shutting down that system that I have not done in a while. I've not done in about 2 years. So I would need to get better at that. I would also probably be moderating the podcast, but I think Michael Damiani and obviously Don Casanova would probably be the two best people in that category. I will bring that up with Isla. I don't know. Isla might be right where Isla wants to be, but we shall see. Takeaways: do other live versions of shows like Minigame Champions during Easy Chillin', and wait a minute. Did I skip a question? Did I write this down? Ladies and gentlemen, this always happens during the showcase, but this rarely happens on Cup of Jones. I copied and pasted its takeaways, but I didn't actually grab the original question. No, that's today's episode of Cup of Jones. I'm like, oh, it's Cup of Jones. Yeah, it's the Cup of Jones you're streaming right now. Come on now. Boy, this Patreon website's kind of slow. Functionality has left me wanting as well. What's going on? This Patreon website. Here we go. From T-Beaks. I just have one group stream suggestion, so I figured here would be the best place to suggest it to you and the other allies to see if it interests you, if that's all right. It's all right. I might forget the post, but yeah. Some friends from high school released a game a few years ago on Steam and Xbox that I've meant to suggest to you guys for a while because it would be the perfect group stream or tournament group stream, but never got around to it. But they just released it on Switch this past week, so I figured now's a good time as any to suggest it, especially since I just found out some of the top streamers on Twitch have streamed this game a few times. Like some of those streamers were in the AOC Among Us stream. It's pretty wild. All right, sorry. Anyway, the game is Mage Quit by Bowl Cut Studios. It's a party brawler for up to 10 people at a time where you use spells in an arena to knock each other out. It's somewhat Smash inspired in spirit, but not in gameplay. Mage Quit, Bowl Cut Studios. Yeah, I didn't have our Switch backing me up on the cup. I was like, I can only do so much. Boom. All right. Let's do a chillingly depressing editorial, shall we? Cheery tunes. And, oh, no. We started a little bit at the end. So yeah, I had a moment this weekend, everybody. Here we go. was playing Diablo 2 Resurrected by that shitty company Blizzard, and I didn't grow up playing a lot of PC games. I was very much a controller kid. When I first started playing video games, it was the Atari 2600 and then the NES and the SNES. Like that was my journey with being able to control video games. And I played some text adventures and stuff. I had an Apple IIe, and so I would type a lot with a keyboard, but never really got into strategy games. Never really got into simulation games. Never really got into. I would play adventure games, like I played Fate of Atlantis and Last Crusade. All the indie early stuff, at friends' houses, but a lot of that stuff was like behind their shoulder, and I was not like a Counter-Strike kid. I was not, Quake, Doom. Like I did not play that stuff on PC. Played Doom on I know it was on Super Nintendo. I think I played Doom on the, what was the 32X? I think it was the first time I played Doom. So I've always had a disconnect between clicking a mouse and having that operate a video game. It's always been very strange to me because I do this all day. I clicked the mouse this morning for my job to make the stream happen. So it's weird to me to then do the exact same physical activity and be like, yes, but now I'm shooting a gun. It's like, no, you're not. You're checking your email. It's just it's so tied in viscerally to work and stress that it's like the moment I pick up you pick up this Switch Pro controller with my head crab sticker on the back, and now I'm playing a game. Now I'm transported somewhere. Now I can kiss reality goodbye. But some games you just got to do that, and I very what's the word I'm looking for? Naively went into Diablo 2 Resurrected, being like, oh right, I got to click a bunch, and I couldn't. I played Diablo 2 Resurrected for about 20 minutes, and I had to stop. And so I want to talk about pain. I want to talk about, I can't play that game. And I want to start this by saying, I sympathize. Shout out to actually Elisa Pearl, who is one of the Ripleys who Amanda works with, who has had joint and muscle pain her entire life. And she will tweet every now and then just like, today sucks. And I always try to be empathetic. I always try to get into a mindset of I sprained my ankle this summer, and that was really frustrating because I didn't, I normally do lunges and jumping jacks and I run and, take Sophie on a walk up big hills in our neighborhood. And I couldn't do that for a little while. And that was really frustrating. And there are people obviously not only with disability, shout out to Able Gamers, but people just that, outwardly you would think are operating at the same level that you are, but in order to do so, have to endure a serious amount of pain, and how much we might not recognize that could get in the way of gaming, especially super crazy long-term gaming. Interesting to do marathons at work and at the end of them be like, I'm glad that ended when it did because I don't know if I could have played that anymore. And also at the ripe old age of 42, now that I'm getting old, it's just interesting to think about this industry in terms of, if you retire from basketball for like Shaq can just maybe in a commercial or something, he's like, hey, when I go down the court, I drink Gatorade or whatever. And then with CG, we kind of made it look like you made that 3-pointer or whatever, it's but the rest of the time he's just sitting at a desk in a suit, in a brown suit, just yeah, that's crazy. And there's not this expectation. It's no, you did that. You were known maybe for, doing this one thing, but now you can totally do something else in the same field. You can still be a part of sports without playing a sport where, yikes. It's kind of scary to, and obviously, Blizzard, the many people at the administrative staff of Blizzard are a bunch of a-holes, but, Diablo 2 is a game I was really looking forward to. And it was neat to get in and be like, Barbarian, huh? That's the one with the bow. I thought Assassin was the one with the bow, but I guess not. And just a big staff and swapping the graphics back and forth. There's just a lot of this game. I was I really want to spend time with this, but wow, I just clicked 600 times. This wasn't necessarily, I don't have copious notes for this editorial. I just wanted to shout out to people out there that are living with pain that's getting in the way between them and games. and them and really enjoying anything. You see the commercials all the time, like I can't garden because I have joint pain. And a lot of times, people are cast in, with like retired people and gray hair that are dealing with this issue, but you're like, nope, I'm in my 20s and my arm hurts. Shout out to my Mike Buddy, who you might have heard the name float around. He's one of the original founders of Game Trailers and has worked with Game Trailers and Easy Allies throughout the years. Long time friend of mine. His wife got her arm caught in an elevator, in the elevator door. She went to close the door, and that little sensor that like whoop opens the door up didn't go. The elevator door closed on her arm, and she, in trying to get it out, it wasn't like it didn't crush her arm, but in trying to get it out, she did nerve damage to her arm. That to this day, I mean, that was 18 years ago, I think, and like to this day, she's dealing with it. And so I feel bad because games like Sekiro come along every now and then, and I'm like, damn, I can't finish this. This will take a level of concentration and commitment on my part mentally akin to working out. And like, I don't know if I want to do that. Like, I don't know if I want to commit that hard. So I enjoy it when this job approaches a discussion of vulnerability, because it's something that I really believe in expressing in our society. I think that's kind of one of the things like holding us back in this 21st century. We're in the 21st century now. 22nd century is going to be sweet. I might not be here, but it's going to be awesome. I think a lot of people, parade around trying to show themselves off as being much less vulnerable than they actually are. I think we are just inherently very vulnerable as human beings. And it's neat to be able to confess that to people. I think that's something that people don't like to show off a lot. Certainly it's scary to do with the Patreon, all of you tuning into this thing that, you all give us money to produce content. And then it's, a little nerve wracking to be like, hey, sometimes we make mistakes. Like we don't want to really communicate that because we're going to be like, no. Your money is safe hands. We're, look at our track record. There's, we work very hard and we're very committed to our jobs. But at the same time, yikes, I'm not bringing Diablo 2 Resurrected to Frame Trap because my wrist hurts a ton. And maybe I just need to it did after playing that game for like a half an hour. Maybe I just need to get a new mouse. Maybe I just need to look at new, get like a wrist guard or something. But yikes. So yeah, shout out to people who have to deal with that all the time. Obviously, shout out to people who have always had to deal with disabilities in terms of getting access to games and ways that you have possibly overcome that. Because many people that I've met in this industry have just that experience just has transformed them into some of the most wonderful people that I've ever met in my life. So shout out to people who deal with these things more often than I do. It just made me reflect this weekend and made me realize that I'm definitely going to have limitations. Time is one of them. A lot of don't have a lot of time to play the things that I want, but maybe some things I got to cross off the list too because, ouch. Shout out to shout out to this cup of coffee, Brandon's cup of coffee. Shout out to this cup, Jones's cup. Shout out to our patrons again. Lots of really good stuff. Lots of really good stuff happening on Twitch this week. Mysterious Monsters happening in just over an hour. That'll be happening on Twitch, or you can watch the VOD. And we got, No Man's Sky, Hot Wheels Unleashed, which you really need to see in action. It's really a bunch of toy cars just smashing into each other. It's really great. And then a bunch of really great pre-launch and launch party action going on this weekend with Halo and New World games I'm very much looking forward to playing extensively and seeing extensive playthroughs of. So hope you enjoyed as well. Be kind to each other. Have a wonderful week, everybody. Delayed click, which might not be around forever. I just like having this moment. I like doing the click and then having this moment together. There we had it. Cheers.